It is Tuesday, May 14th. We are back with the Wrestling Inc. podcast. It's myself, Mr. Raj Giri, along with Mayor Matt Morgan and Justin LaBar. Justin, who will be filling in for Glenn Rubenstein this week. Justin, how are you doing?
I'm good. I feel I'm just getting my fill of Wrestling Inc. today. I was on the Winkley earlier with Nick, and now I'm here with the owner and Mr. Mayor. I'm in great company.
Yeah, you're all over the place. Matt, how are you?
Good. How are you guys?
Good. So SmackDown tonight, back at the O2 Arena in London, same spot as Raw last night. Real quick, just overall thoughts on the show, guys. Justin, why don't we go to you first?
Not a bad show, but I'll be honest. I actually probably took away more things that I liked about Raw this week than I did SmackDown, or in terms of things that got me excited or got me, had me glued to the TV, which I haven't been able to say that in a while. So, that's. Go home shows going into Money in the Bank. Like I said, Raw's longer, so it's just tougher to get through. There's a whole lot more dead spots, but I thought there was some things, especially in the last 2 hours of Raw, that I was more engaged in. Tonight's SmackDown just kind of felt like a lot of video packages, a lot of just kind of putting it in cruise control.
Matt, your thoughts?
Man, better. I don't even know if I would consider that better than last night's show or not, honestly. I usually always think it's better, but it's not. This episode, I didn't feel it was that much better than Raw.
Yeah, I kind of felt like it was just there. I thought nothing, Matt, we talked about this last night, just go home shows and what they used to be and getting you excited for a pay-per-view and leaving you wanting more. And that does not happen anymore.
No, you're right. Hang on real quick.
Sure. All right. So Justin, first off, we went to the opening segment, Roman Reigns promo. He talked about how he still had unfinished business from Raw. Basically, this whole wild card thing is just a way to have Roman on both shows, right?
It seems that way, and from what we're hearing, and it makes total sense from a business standpoint. Us wrestling fans thought it was fresh for a storyline to have Roman Reigns drafted over to SmackDown. He'd been with Raw for 5 or 6 years, so it felt fresh, right? But from a business standpoint, when you have executives at NBC Universal who are already getting to have, it's already a weird dynamic with Fox getting ready to come into the fold here. When you have NBC guys going, so Vince, you just took, ratings have been declining and you decide to take, the top star off of our show. So yeah, this certainly seems like, wild card rule. Roman Reigns always one of the participants and then the other three. Again, business wise, I get it. Now this is only the tip of the iceberg. Once Fox is actually in the game, come the fall time, I got to credit Eric Bischoff. Eric Bischoff's one of the first people I heard say this publicly way back when the Fox deal was announced, which he said, and obviously he's got a lot of TV experience. He said WWE's always been under the same family. It's true. They've always been in the NBC family, and now having two major, two different media entities taking your 2 weekly shows, there's going to be hey, why did he or she get to play with this? Why did they get that star? This is just the tip. This is just the tip of it. This is going to get far worse before it gets better.
Is UPN Universal?
No, NBC Universal. So NBC and Universal are now one entity, Universal Entertainment. So they're.
No, I thought I heard you say that they've never been out from any other umbrella other than NBC or Universal.
UPN, My Network TV, they were a network, but not like the Big Four. The Big Four has always been, but yes, they were definitely they were a network, but definitely not under the same
CBS, ABC, NBC. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, and they definitely weren't paying $1 billion like Fox is.
No, and that's why they're gonna shit can this not draft, but I think eventually the brand split. Yeah, they're gonna have to.
I mean, it more or less has already. Technically, you had 6 Raw stars on SmackDown tonight. I guess the Usos, tag teams count as one. Did they ever specify that? But
they're making the rules up as they go along.
So let's just say the Usos are one.
Didn't they bring, when Daniel Bryan did it on the very night? Didn't he do it on the very first night? When he came,
he did, but he came by himself.
He didn't come over with his bodyguard.
No, but it was still like 5 people that night. But then they said Elias didn't count. But tonight you had the Miz, you had the Usos, so that's 3 if you're counting the Usos as 2 different people. Lacey Evans was backstage. You had Ricochet, and then you had Sami Zayn. So you had 6 people. And just last week, we're talking about continuity just from 1 week ago, where Vince said if it was more than 4, someone would be fired.
himself.
No kidding, man. Anyway, so Reigns got the mic, is talking about Elias being a big problem. He's going to take care of him. How Elias is a big problem, I don't know. He hasn't won a big match in forever.
Right. I was criticizing this yesterday during Raw. Roman Reigns, I dislike this. Roman Reigns as the babyface, as he's getting ready, as he's trying to sell his matches. Elias
cutting down his opponent.
Yeah,
right?
says Elias hasn't accomplished anything. I'm like, well,
yes, I agree with that. I called that out last night too.
Yeah, I'm gonna tune in and watch that.
Right. It's
that was horrible. Babyface 101. He broke like every commandment.
It would be like Hulk Hogan wrestling Boris Zukov on pay-per-view, and Hogan talking about how Boris has never won, and then Boris doesn't win any matches during that build-up either.
Yes. Say, what was your best run with the Bolsheviks, boy? Really?
Yeah.
But just completely running them down. Like, it was terrible. I can't believe he did it. I didn't like it.
Yeah. You're having your top star on both shows, which is great. It makes total sense. But being with a guy you're giving no push to, it makes.
You should be getting him over. They should be like calling him a problem. That's a step in the right direction. It gives him some credit, right? But how do you come back from last night?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not so easy. They should be going overboard about how good he is, and he's been held back, and what you're trying to make your market me now by not being held back, by taking one win against me, and boom, it's just going to skyrocket you. Where, quite frankly, I do kind of agree you kind of should be. I don't know, something to that effect. You know what I mean? Where you're putting him over.
Yeah. Mind you, this is Roman Reigns, verbally burying the guy he's going to have a match with, and this is the guy who they put in a segment with The Undertaker WrestleMania weekend. They've put in a segment with John Cena at Raw 25. I mean, so like it's he's burying a guy who they haven't followed through. He hasn't won really any big matches, hasn't won any titles, but they keep putting him in significant scenarios, and then Roman Reigns buries him. I don't understand that.
You know what sucks about that? I know we got to move on, but real quick, because I like him, and I know he's your buddy from where you're from. But if you notice the stuff with Cena and you know the stuff with Taker, they didn't milk that for what those were worth, though. You know what I mean? There was no build up to it, really. And there wasn't any talking like, can you believe this young upstart superstar is in the ring with John Cena? He's taking to John Cena right now. Oh my God. Yeah, anything like that. Nothing.
No, you're right. They just use him and the guitar and the promo gimmick to, set up the entrance.
And he's good, man. He's got the look, he gets a good promo. He's
a big guy. He's got, exactly what you said. The look, he stands out. He's got everything that Vince would, want. He's not his matches aren't the best, but put him in with people that he can work with to get to that level.
Yeah.
Anyway, Shane McMahon, Miz, it just kind of felt like a rehash of, what we saw on Raw. And
it did. They did the same thing last week too. We said,
and this was the problem.
We just called it out last week too. Like, it feels like we just saw this on Raw last night. Because you did.
Yeah, and this was the problem before the brand split, was that Raw and SmackDown, they kind of end up being very similar as far as the angles and stuff go.
It's kind of wild that Shane and The Miz have been connected consistently in storyline for 6 months since November in the last Saudi Arabia show. And that's actually pretty. When you think about the amount of programming they have, and you think about how schizophrenic the creative can be, it's actually kind of impressive that they've at least had some continuity.
It is.
Yeah. It is. So anyway, at some point, Shane, Miz cuts a good promo on Shane. I know, Justin, you and me are always going to disagree in this. Miz cutting a badass promo. He's very good, but I just can't buy him in that as a badass. As
a tough guy.
Yeah.
When it came to his dad, that's the closest I've come to kind of believing, like, Miz is pissed off. Someone better look out, I guess. And I say I guess because that's the closest to it I've ever seen, because it's Miz, right? He's funny, he's witty. We've never, for so many years, we never had to see him get like angry, and if we did, it's always like you laugh at him. You don't really get scared of him.
He's funny, he's witty. He's certainly just because of his natural personality, he thrives more being the chicken shit heel. But I'll say this: working with Shane, and because Shane basically works one style, and that's stiff punches and kamikaze high spots.
Mm-hmm.
So the big spot at Mania, and then if they go all out in a cage match this Sunday, more hardcore violent matches like that for the Miz, I think, will help build up some credibility of, okay, this guy, maybe dare I say a little color, that might change, that the Miz can turn it up and can be a tough guy.
They've got to show him snapping, and they've got to zoom in on his face. And they've done it a couple times when it came to his dad, right? But they need more of it. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, and we'll do a couple of the quick picks for Money in the Bank as we go along. But it's funny because Money in the Bank is actually a pretty loaded card. It's pretty stacked, and you would not know it with the build this week. It's kind of an afterthought. I have to remind myself what's happening at Money in the Bank.
This is one of the worst not follow-ups, but lead-in shows.
Yeah.
Or weeks, lead-in weeks.
I've been saying for a couple of years now that the concept that the Money in the Bank has become, to me, the Money in the Bank is number 4. It's now part of the big 4. I think it bumps Survivor Series because look, the Survivor Series concept of all these guys on these teams, that's so 30 years ago. That's so
they do it all now with 6-man tags galore.
That's what I mean. It's so it was a big deal when there was only 4 pay-per-views a year, and week-to-week programming was feature talent against an enhancement talent. But it's, to me, Money in the Bank, because of its significance, to me, it's part of the big 4 now.
And it was cool to see like a Kogan and Warrior and all these different people, you know what I mean, that you would never see together, tagging together. That's what made it really special. Now these guys do it all the time. It's nothing special. Yeah,
elimination matches aren't a specialty draw that you need to get to the arena to see like they were back in the 80s. Yeah. I agree. So anyway, back to the Shane. You said there were a few other people that hated the guts, introducing Daniel Bryan and Rowan, who came out without their belts. A fight ensued. The Usos came out to make the save. And so we got a match tonight, and it led to the Usos and Reigns against Daniel Bryan, Rowan, Elias, and who am I forgetting here? Jesus. Shane McMahon, Elias, Daniel Bryan, and Rowan against Roman Reigns and the Usos. Up next, we had the fatal 4-way. Randy Orton, who came out to the ring, cut a standard generic promo. Andrade, who also cut Zelina Vega came out. She's great with her delivery, but the material she came out with wasn't the best. It was very forced and scripted. Mm-hmm. And then Finn Balor and Ali. So for the people in the Money in the Bank, the men's Money in the Bank match this Sunday.
Yeah, I didn't mind that Vega promo with the whole spoilers gimmick. I don't know. I actually thought it was kind of timely just because, like, I don't know about you guys. I don't watch Game of Thrones and I haven't watched Avengers Endgame. So, like, I'm watching from the outside, all these people freaking out when somebody's spoiling something or whatever. So to me, I don't know. I kind of actually thought it was timely and a pretty decent promo to just put her guy over.
Yeah, I thought what she was talking about was timely, but I thought the way it was written, it just sounded very written.
She wouldn't say that. That's the thing. That's the thing you're missing. She would not talk like that. She's always talking about her man as an agent to her man, if you will, like Jerry Maguire or a Arliss, showing my age. Do you know what I mean?
It's not natural dialogue.
She's like a super sports agent for her man, basically. All she does is hype him up better than he can ever hype himself up, I'll add. And when they're taking in these other directions to do exactly what you just said, we're going to be trendy. We're going to be talking about current events. Aren't we great? The writers that wrote that.
Yeah, I think doing a line here or there to do it, drawing a parallel to something current, is one thing. But when you got like, an 8-line promo, which is,
it's not natural. You're not going to do that. Case in point, when I was doing my stuttering gimmick, they made me, I did a cut. Robbie E was the local, I don't want to call him jobber, but local enhancement talent, right? And before the match started, I get on the mic, and before getting into my stutter, I was supposed to talk about, telling him to run away, like the runaway. There's this runaway bride that was on the front page of the news who like left her husband at the altar and totally skipped out of town on the guy, and it made national news, and it was like all the just for that day. And now I watch back and go, what the hell was that stuff? I don't even remember what that was, and again, it just sounded so forced. Do you know what I mean? And they try to do it because they try to get too cute and try too hard to be current. And it's not natural when the wrestlers have to then do that because they don't talk like that. None of us talk like that. None of us are gonna in real life would we talk like that.
Right.
I don't know.
And your game is gonna end throny. It's not. It's just not how people talk. Yeah, I agree. But regardless, this was a good match. No stakes. It's kind of the general WWE buildup. Whenever there's a multi-person match, you see various combinations. This was a 4-way. Andrade pinning Finn Balor to get the win. So I don't know. To me, Ricochet got beat yesterday. To me, that makes like Ricochet and Finn Balor two of the favorites going into this Sunday.
Wins and losses have never meant any less in WWE's history, I'm going to argue, than currently.
I agree.
Name another time.
I mean, it feels like there's hardly anyone being protected right now.
Everybody loses.
Yeah. Roman right now so far is the only one, but he hasn't been wrestling.
He's really wrestling.
I mean, he lost tonight, even though he wasn't the one pinned. But,
well, I think a big reason for that is just the amount of programming they try to fill, and the amount of, I don't know. I would, and we see them do this every now and again. I would not be opposed to. First off, I wish both the shows were 2 hours, but that's probably not going to happen.
Yeah.
But I would not be opposed to them taking, one or two competitive matches away, and even if they had to substitute it with a featured talent against a local talent, and we see them do this every now and again. It's not every week like it used to be in like 1990. And I'm not saying that they need to go. That should be the whole show. But I wouldn't be opposed to that. That way they could preserve some of these competitive matches, and we don't see the redundancy of best of threes, best of fives. And I'd rather see, okay, here's the talent you're trying to get me to build on, who's going to have a big match in a couple weeks. Let me see their signature stuff. Let me see some more character depth with them. Let me see some vignettes or skits about them. I'd rather that than watching a 25-minute 3-segment match in which I'm going to see again in 2 more weeks. I don't know. I just
don't like the 50-50 booking,
But they're always going to 50-50 book as long as they have this much to go out there. They're going to constantly trade.
They're also stuck with the same wrestlers facing each other as opposed to.
Okay, so what? Back in the day, how many times did we hear the stories? Those guys wrestled 31 days a month or some crap like that. It was always the same story. The guy, Hulk Hogan, then all of a sudden start losing. Okay, and guess whoever the hell he was wrestling against, or whoever the stars were at the time.
But it wasn't all televised, Matt. That's what I mean, though. Like,
Yeah, Hogan never wrestled. He never wrestled every week, but he would appear every week. But yeah, that's kind of to that point. The top stars probably shouldn't wrestle every week, because
they're doing promos, vignettes.
Yep.
I don't know.
That's what say all you want about him, but that's one of the beauty things about Brock Lesnar is that it is an attraction when you're going to see him when you're going to see him take the sweats off and actually put the shorts on and put the boots and put the gloves on. It's an attraction because you only see it every so often.
How do you know he's wearing sweats?
When he comes out for his promos, when he's wearing his Adidas sweats and
how do you know he's wearing his nut hugger country boy jeans? Double coated.
But yeah, I mean that is true. I mean, any time Undertaker makes an appearance now, or Goldberg, or when he was in, or Sting, you remember those appearances because it wasn't every week.
Yes. No, you're right.
But anyway, back to this. Andrade with the win. Ricochet shows up and ends up clutching leaps onto a ladder, goes at it with Andrade, gets the briefcase, clutches it, on the ramp while Andrade recovers. So Ricochet showing that he can climb a ladder and grab the belt. Grab the briefcase.
I'll take it for the outshot. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the things that has me most excited about this match is Ricochet being in.
Yes, I still think he might win this somehow. I hope.
I mean, looking who's in: Sami Zayn, Ricochet, Drew McIntyre, Baron Corbin, Ali, Randy Orton, Andrade, and Finn Balor. Ricochet is my favorite.
This is a really good match.
I think whoever wins is going to be a heel.
Who do you think?
I mean, Drew would be my number one.
Oh, I remember you saying that. Yeah, that's a good call, too. No, that's a good call. Because Drew with the briefcase could be really good. Think about it.
Yeah. Drew is definitely up there. The only thing with Drew is he doesn't need it. He can be in the main event anyway.
You're right.
But then again, Braun didn't need it last year, and they had him win.
Yeah. Well, my top 2 picks, and again, both heels would be Drew, or actually behind him would be Andrade.
Yeah.
Hell no.
They'll use it to milk. Look, again, they'll use it to milk it. They'll use it to the boost. They want
for Fox. Is that what you're gonna say?
Yeah. I mean, I'm just thinking. And again, remember, if he wins the briefcase, it doesn't have to. The rule is they got 12 months, so you don't have to picture him as a champion tomorrow.
And let's not forget Damian Sandow won the Money in the Bank one year.
When they were building him, though, I'm sorry, Damian was a very acceptable, right underneath the main event. You know what I mean? The intercontinental level. And then when's he finally going to get his push up top? Do you know what I mean? If you guys really remember when he was doing his silly stuff, when he was wearing his robe and being his genius stuff, that was I like that shtick a lot. And he was really good in the ring.
That was the closest. I agree. That was the closest he was to near that level. I didn't see him in the world title picture, but I could have seen him getting there if they had kept pushing him. Yeah. Went back to Kofi and Xavier backstage. Xavier said he had Kofi's back, and we'll make sure everything goes smooth during the Kevin Owens show tonight. Kofi wants Woods to stay back and said that Woods wasn't at 100%. I was surprised they didn't do a match with Owens destroying Woods, but
he showed him,
yeah. Back from break, out came Charlotte Flair. She said Sunday will be the culmination of her rivalry with Becky. It'll end with her becoming SmackDown Women's Champion again. She wooed and led us to a video package. They do this a lot now.
I thought Lacey was going to come out here.
Well, yeah, she was backstage, but
because I thought they saw the two of them in the ring together. I thought it'd be too much for Vince to pass up. Do you know what I mean? What his type is usually.
Yeah. So Evans was backstage, cut a promo about facing Becky, and that was kind of it.
This video, though, for I thought this video was pretty good. I mean, obviously they tapped into all the real life pictures with Charlotte and Becky. I mean, I thought it because honestly, prior to this, I was far more interested in the Lacey Becky. Like this got me a little more hype for Charlotte and Becky.
And because that's the newness of it all, right? With the Raw situation, right? She's brand new, it's a fresh opponent,
and she brings intensity. She brings intensity.
Be ready, but Charlotte versus Becky is a great match, though. I could watch it. I know it's played out, but I swear to you, I could watch that 300 times in a row and still pay to see it. I really would, but most fans aren't, like that, and I understand that. But what do you think's going to happen? Do you think she drops it to Charlotte?
No, actually, I think
she keeps both.
I think she drops one of them. Actually, I wouldn't be shocked if she drops the one to Lacey.
Wow. Yeah.
But the other thing to keep in mind, and this is what makes it fun, is let me put it this way: I see Becky 2 belts walking out with 1 belt. Even if she was to beat both Charlotte and Lacey, who's to say after she finishes that second match if
they said that last night? Yeah,
here comes the Money in the Bank.
I forgot all about it. It's the name of the damn pay-per-view, and I forgot all about it.
Yeah. So I mean, that would be a way of obviously protecting her, but still being able to get one title off of her. I mean,
good point.
Yeah, that was kind of my pick. I figure it's either the winner of the Money in the Bank walks away with the SmackDown title, or Charlotte. But I think Becky holds on to Raw, stays on Raw. She's now on one brand, and SmackDown has their own champ.
Because you got to figure when building the match card, since Becky has 2 matches, they're obviously going to try to space them. You'd think probably pretty far apart, and they'll probably put a women's Money in the Bank in between it, or I don't know. I mean, I'm just thinking spacing wise, you can make it happen.
Yeah. I can still see Mandy Rose. we'll see.
Yeah. No, I don't think that's not a bad pick. I mean, regardless of what some people might think of her, that's not just based upon positioning. I could certainly see Mandy Rose coming out of this with a briefcase. Another blonde.
But you do now have a 4th girl, in that main event picture now versus just a 3, right?
Yeah. Yep. I mean, you kind of make someone else.
Yeah.
You've taken Asuka kind of out of there, so it helps put someone in. We'll get to that. We'll get to that in a second.
We don't stop. Sorry.
All right. So next up, we had the 4-on-3 handicap match: Shane McMahon, Elias, Daniel Bryan, and Rowan versus Roman Reigns and the Usos. Man, Matt, we've been talking about them doing Daniel Bryan versus Roman Reigns, a feud between them, and here they kind of were just thrown together in this kind of nothing tag team match.
Yeah. I dug in tagging with the Usos, by the way, the family. I thought that was cool.
I'd like to see them as a stable.
It would be cool. They're very comfortable with each other. I think they could bring something different out of Roman. Maybe.
I agree. I think Roman's way more comfortable with them. Like they did that thing with the club a few years ago, and I thought it was really great stuff.
Yeah.
I feel like probably because they're always putting sole emphasis on Roman. I feel like. This isn't the first time we've seen him around the Usos, as we just noted. I feel like WWE kind of downplays it, though. They don't make as much about, I I don't know. I'm surprised they don't make a bigger deal of, oh, it's Roman teaming with his boys with the Usos. I don't know.
You mean calling it out for it being his family?
Yeah, I feel like, I don't know. I feel like they're always putting the sole emphasis on Roman. I just, like we said, I'm kind of surprised that they haven't gone the route yet of putting them together more, not just on TV, but even like house shows and things like that. I don't know.
It is, and it'll be an easier schedule for Roman, and most importantly, I think he'll be having more legitimate fun. And when you have fun wrestling, that's when all your shit comes out, guys. That's when all like these isms and kinks that you normally didn't even know you had start to come out, and you try new things, and before you know it, you found a new gimmick or a new saying or a new catchphrase or whatever, new move that catches fire. You know?
Yeah. And Justin, to your point about them not making a big deal of it, they really don't make a big deal out of anything right now. I mean, you had AJ Styles wrestling, for the WWE Championship just a week ago, or was that last week or 2 weeks ago, whatever it was. And he has the opportunity to, and he's going to wrestle for the Universal Championship this Sunday. In a 2 week span, he has the chance to win 2 of the major titles. And I don't know if that was even brought up.
Well, I guess I'm comparing and contrasting to what I felt like was like 4 or 5 Shield reunions before Ambrose left. So they made a pretty big deal of that, but
you're absolutely right. They freaking you're right.
They sucked every dime out of that marketing campaign.
They did.
They didn't need any blue chews for that. No.
All right. So with this, Elias sent Reigns into the steel steps. Shane tagged in and goes to the top, hits a big coast-to-coast on Jay, and got the win. So after the match, the heels are standing tall. The Miz's music hits. He comes down with the steel chair. Shane retreats as Miz looks on. And then Reigns gets up, hits a spear on Rowan. Shane looks on from the stage. Miz stares back at him, and the heels are declared the winners. Real quick, guys, Shane versus Miz, steel cage this Sunday. Who do you guys got?
Miz.
Yeah, Miz. I mean, Shane got the run at Mania, right? So you think Miz?
Yeah, I think it has to be the Miz.
And by the way, with Shane, I mean, obviously the dude is a great athlete. I mean, props to him.
Beating the guys, right? Is that what you're gonna say?
Well, that's the whole other thing. That is a valid argument there. But I mean, he's in good shape, but he needs to stop doing this coast to coast thing, because the last couple of times he does it, he keeps coming up shorter and shorter. He's trying to hit up here in the chest. He's hitting them lower, and he's He's stretching out to extend his legs to try to reach it, try to make contact with him, and he's banging the back of his head off the mat. It looks
bumped, dude.
Right on that part of the ring. Oh my God! Every time, the last 3 times I've seen him do it, he has cracked his head back, and he is in legit pain.
Mania, I saw that too. You're right. Really quick, my opinion, really quick before we move on, is that I thought Miz should have closed this out. Honestly, I hate when they do the stupid connect the 2 to sometimes even 3 storylines in these 6-man tags. But tonight it was 2 storylines because they both don't get over. They both almost cancel each other out. That outshot, I continue to tell you, so important on what the last thing is we see, and it should have been an irate Miz somehow getting his hands on somebody on that team with his chair and looking like a lunatic. Like you said, to drive that point further, that he's the tough guy. He can be a badass when he has to be. You know what I mean? And he didn't have to hit that spear is what I'm saying. Who cares about Roman hitting a spear on old boy? It did nothing for him.
Yeah, and you mentioned combining 3 storylines. There kind of actually were. I mean, you had Roman and Elias, who are facing off this Sunday. Real quick, who do you guys got with that? I shouldn't
say it again. Asking.
Roman Reigns and Elias.
Son, I hope it's Elias though. I do.
Yeah, it's Roman.
Roman.
And then this was another thing we talked about last week, Matt, with Daniel Bryan coming back, being in a tag team with Rowan, winning the tag titles. It's great and everything, but Daniel Bryan's gone from headlining WrestleMania, or being one of the featured matches at WrestleMania. Now he's on the kickoff show. It's Daniel Bryan and Rowan on the kickoff show against the Usos.
They're on the kickoff show?
It's on the kickoff show.
You have to be shitting me.
Well,
come on. Why couldn't he? So over. He should have. He brought the titles up. If anything, like, it doesn't have to be relegated to this pre-show, because it's the tag titles every single time, no matter who the holders are.
Matt, it's not the pre-show; it's the kickoff.
And remember, these kickoff shows aren't 7 hours like WrestleMania, so they don't have all that time. And they got 11 matches on this one, including that kickoff.
It's Daniel Bryan. You find a space. Sorry.
So yeah, I mean, I think Daniel Bryan
People
and
pay
Rowan.
to see him.
I think Daniel Bryan and Rowan. Justin, your pick.
Yeah, Bryan and Rowan, for sure.
All right. And so before we go on, we have our sponsor tonight, Wix. Justin, why don't you tell us a little bit about Wix?
Sure. That's right. Tonight's SmackDown Live recap brought to you by Wix, which allows you to create a professional website by yourself. Wix allows you to build professional websites any way you want, set up databases, content-rich sites without having to do all kinds of coding and HTML and have all those skills necessary. You can get started now by going to wix.com/podcast. To get 10% off. And, over 140 million people use Wix for the website. Raj, I believe, you know some people that are involved with it. You can really start and get going for free. There's over 500, I think, templates for how you can, make it look and the color scheme and what have you. All sites have SEO, which for people not familiar with that, it's how you rank in terms of search engines. They have SEO tools to help you get your website discovered the way you want. So, I mean, it really, wix.com/podcast, get 10% off, multiple different payment options in terms of being able to work with Wix. Raj, didn't you tell me you've had some experience with them, correct?
Yes, my wife. Her yoga business she had been asking me to create her site. I've been so busy that I'm like, man, the amount of time that goes into creating a site and, making sure it's working on mobile and tablet and desktop. And so I kept putting it off just because I didn't have the time. So finally, I heard about Wix, told her about it. And within a few hours, she had a website up and running. She hates techie stuff. She doesn't have any computer skills, doesn't want to do anything with CSS. She's like, one of those where she's like, my computer's not working. And it's like, just turn it. You got to turn the monitor on. But she's intelligent. I mean, she runs her own yoga business. So don't get me wrong. She's just not a techie. And yeah, she got it going within a few hours on Wix and, uses it to this day, does her updates and with no programming experience at all. And there's no programming required and it looks awesome.
Yeah,
so,
pretty basic stuff in terms of just uploading images and videos and just all the basic elements you want. They kind of like tie it into the template that you pick, and all your sites with Wix are optimized automatically, so it'll look the way it should on the desktop. It'll look the way it should on a mobile device. So again, check it out. It's wix.com/podcast.
Now we go back to the show, and we saw the Firefly Funhouse segment again. Matt and I discussed this a little bit last night on the podcast, or we discussed it a lot. Justin, your thoughts on this?
I mean, I was engaged. Just a cheap plug. About 3-4 weeks ago, I had the guy who directed the Firefly Funhouse on my podcast. They filmed it here in Pittsburgh. It's the same guy and group that made the mask that you saw. They also made the mask for Corey Taylor of Slipknot. So for all you music people who are saying, "Oh, Bray Wyatt looks like he's in Slipknot," well, he should. It's the same people that made it. But I knew this was supposed to get darker. I didn't know any more than that. I was really captivated by this. I went back and watched it a couple times, put headphones on because I didn't catch the first time the creepy twinkle twinkle little star being sang. I didn't catch the last thing Bray says is "owie yowie" with the mask on. It was just dark. I mean, and talk about again protecting, and back to what we were saying earlier about Brock and people who don't wrestle a lot. I don't think we need to see Bray Wyatt wrestling every week or on house shows. This can be a menacing kind of character that can have a story that can be on programming each week, but he does not need to wrestle. Make it a big deal, because my only worry is that if this is kind of like a Finn Balor situation where he can be, dare I say, normal Bray Wyatt, and then he puts on his darkness, that could be a problematic over time, because it's then going to make normal Bray Wyatt not matter, which I think normal Finn Balor does not matter as much after you see the Demon. So I think if we can protect this Bray Wyatt and keep him dark, I don't know, potential.
I think the whole point of bringing him out and making him that squeaky Pee Wee Herman baby face is just to get to mask heel, Bray. And I think it's going to come a lot sooner than we think it is. You know what I mean? I think
it's going to be Monday.
We're not going to see that squeaky clean Bray in another 3 weeks, in my opinion.
One of the best quotes that the director Jason Baker gave me in the interview I did with him on the podcast, and we ran a little clip here on the Winkley, was he talked about how he's like, You say, Ted Bundy and you start John Wayne Gacy. He's like they look like regular everyday people. He's like the scariest monsters of those who walk above us or walk among us. So that was a great intro to have this Pee Wee Herman kind of smiley, corny Bray Wyatt. I mean, that scares you even more. Did you know that he's creepily luring you in?
Yeah.
Matt, what do you think seeing it again?
Awesome.
Yeah,
absolutely awesome.
So do you think he wrestles as both or just one? Or just a monster?
He'll be the monster. He'll be the monster or heel. Whatever that is. Whether it's the monster with this mask or maybe they have a different one next week for all I know or whatnot. He will be a heel though. It's just a matter of a few weeks because they're gonna unfortunately morph him out of that way. They already are too fast in my opinion, but I'm being super critical here because I love every segment of it. There's not one I'm not absolutely captivated by. I love them.
Yeah, I kind of think, I'm with you, Justin. I think this character has, and I thought it with the first Bray Wyatt the first time, and then it just got to be overkill with him doing the same promos every week, week after week after week. I'm talking about, when he first debuted on the main roster. I think this is intriguing. It's interesting. Man, I would save his debut for the next pay-per-view. I wouldn't do it on TV, build that anticipation. And then he's got two gimmicks. You could do the squeaky clean guy on TV and you save the monster for pay-per-view or something like that. But I know that they won't do that, but I think
they're not, because they're not going to really have the puppets out in the ring. There's a lot of things that are going to go into that. There's a difference between vignettes and the safety of having all of that backstage props and all the lighting being perfect versus once it happens in the ring. It changes everything. It doesn't look anywhere near the same.
You don't think he comes out with his own rosebuds with one dressed as a buzzard? And
I don't know. I hope not. That'd be super hokey as hell.
That would be DOA.
He comes out with that damn puppy. He's gonna be dead in the water.
I'll say this though with the vignettes. One of the things I like about the vignettes is I like the fact that he has this Mercy the Buzzard and this Rabbit and this Abigail Witch. And because the reason I like it is the one thing I always thought that made Bray Wyatt work and they went away from was the Wyatt family, or is him being a cult leader? He needs, I think, other weird characters around him to show that he has a mental control over them. When they abandoned the Wyatt family and it was just Bray by himself, his character didn't seem as didn't resonate as much. But I think, he should not be coming out with puppets to the ring. But even in these vignettes that he has these weird surrounding of people or whatever they are.
I honestly just think they're fill-ins for Pee-wee's Playhouse. It's Cherry. It's the damn talking window. I honestly think that's all it is.
Probably, it might be right. But it still makes the same point of I like awesome. Him as like this cult leader.
Yeah,
he's got a mental hold.
Yeah,
I'm excited to see where they go because I doubt he's going to wrestle in the mask. So is he just the same underneath? We'll see. Up next, we had Asuka and Kairi Sane with Paige. Paige cut a little promo and introduced them as the Kabuki Warriors, and not much of a response from the crowd. Man, I just think of them beating Sasha and Bailey and the stuff that Sasha and Bailey could be doing with the Kabuki Warriors with Kairi and Asuka.
Can you imagine?
They could be tearing it up and like doing something with this women's tag division. It's a complete afterthought right now. But anyway, they wrestled Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville. Asuka hit Rose. Asuka hit Mandy Rose for the finish and got the win for her team. Matt, your thoughts on this?
Love the two girls tagging together. I think Asuka should be a main event talent for the female division, obviously. But if she's not, I like this. I really like. What's her partner's name again? Kairi Sane. She has that ability. I know I'm really putting the cart before the horse here because she's still brand new, but I'm telling you, she has the natural it in selling and getting people to care about her.
Yeah, she has that total natural baby face, awesome. Persona and look. And, a lot of great heels have had that in the past, Daniel Bryan, and some others, but I just cannot picture her as anything but a baby face.
I agree.
Yeah, if these girls aren't going to be pushed as individuals to the top of the singles card, they're two Japanese girls who both dress colorfully. So they look like they belong as a team. They don't look like they're two random people that got paired together. But the name, I think through
typical that name, what I mean?
It's just like
at least it wasn't the Kabuki Samurais, right? It's one better.
The Viking, whatever.
Right, the Samurai Express.
The Kabuki experience. There we go.
Yeah, so it could be worse.
Yeah.
Not too much worse, though.
No. I'm going to keep calling him Asuka and Kairi Sane.
All right. 1991, when it was very hokey, we got away with the Orient Express, but in 2019,
So backstage, we had Kyla Braxton doing an interview with Lars Sullivan. They showed a video package showing how dominant Lars has been, and Kyla asked him to comment on the destruction he's led. Oh gosh. Anyway, Lars just stared her down, and that was it. So
good. You shouldn't be talking.
Nope.
Or typing, from what I hear.
No, not either.
We'll get to that here in a bit. Lars fined $100,000. The fine was legit. So yeah, WWE finding him $100,000 for comments he made. Most of them were 10 years ago. Some of them weren't as bad that were recent, but still, the ones 10 years ago were really, really bad. So
I would argue it's half of his pay. There's no way he's making over 200 G.
That was my first tweet reaction, is that he hasn't been on the main roster that long to make main roster money. 100,000, if they actually are going to make him pay it. I don't know how hard they have to stick to it. But unless they do it in installments, yeah. If they asked him for a $100,000 check right there, that's debilitating.
No way.
Yeah. This is the first time I could. Well, we'll talk about it after this. But last up, we had the Kevin Owens show. Kofi Kingston. Kofi came out. Fans were chanting Kofi show. So Kofi had taken over. Owens appeared on the big screen, introduced a video package. The one thing with these guys, Charlotte did it earlier, introducing video packages is so unnatural. Could you imagine after a UFC fight if, Daniel Cormier is like cutting a promo and he's like, and by the way, and then they cut to a video promo. It just feels so.
They toss to the promos as if like when they say, I put something together to show, like as if they sat they sat in the editing room and put these clips together. Yeah. At least Jericho was blunt and just said, monkeys in the truck, roll the footage.
Yeah. But anyway, it was a good video package regardless. But they showed highlights of Owens' WWE run. Kofi, when it was done, asked what that proved. He said it didn't prove anything. He's tired of hearing Owens talk. He started tossing stuff out of the ring. Anyways, they had a brawl. Out of nowhere, Sami Zayn, who was number 6 or number 4, depending on how you're counting from Raw this week, attacked Kofi. Kofi was getting double teamed. Xavier made the save. Or no, Xavier didn't make the save, right? Kofi just ended up recovering when Owens went for his move in the corner of the cannonball. Mm-hmm. And moved out of the way. And at the end, the New Day music hits. Kofi was standing tall, which is usually not a good sign for them to retain their title, but we'll see. But that was SmackDown.
Yeah.
This doesn't feel like a WWE Championship feud, man.
In the words of Raven,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just feel like they should be doing more with Kofi. He's one of the few guys to really get over in the last couple months that fans are behind. Tweak his character, get him out of that New Day tag team mid-card funk, that he's so associated with. Move him up.
The number one critique I'm seeing from everybody since Kofi's become champion is that he needs that he's like, let's cool it on the pancakes. Let's you're no longer the hunter. You're now the hunted, as the old expression is. You're the title holder. And I don't know. I mean, I think to some degree, you stick with what got you to the dance. I mean, obviously his New Day character has been his most successful run, but at the same time, that also worked when you were in the fun-loving trio. Again, now you are the WWE World Heavyweight Champion. I want to see a different gear. I want to see kick into a different gear.
He doesn't have it. He had an opportunity going to WrestleMania with an awesome promo that he did not cut. He had an opportunity for an A+ going in the Mania promo where he was supposed to talk from his heart and really hit home. And he didn't hit it, in my opinion. He was about it. He didn't. And if there's not that That's not the opportunity that you're going in the main and you're going to be winning the world title, the thing we all thought about since we were 6 years old. And you don't have that promo cemented into your head by now in 30 different languages, I would argue, then something's wrong. He was using the fake phony voice I hate. He was like, it was so rehearsed. And it was a shame because I really wanted to see him ballpark this, like a la Daniel Bryan. Like, he proved the company wrong. I'm going to be champion, and I'm going to be, it's going well though because the fans are into him still, so that's good. He just needs to drop, in my opinion, the silly stuff like you said, but also drop Woods and Big E. I'm serious. Like, they don't
keep them as friends, but yeah, he's not with them all the time.
Yeah.
It's like when Bret Hart broke off from the Hart Foundation. Him and Neidhart, they weren't feuding, but
what did it do? People could argue about Bret Hart's promos all they want at a certain time in his career, but can you imagine if they kept having Neidhart cut the promos for him? He never would have eventually got a little bit better to cut the promos he ended up cutting, especially when he turned heel and did the anti-America stuff, which was awesome promo work, I thought.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like, we said it earlier with a different talent. To give these people opportunity, you've got to throw them in the deep end. He's not in the deep end because they keep giving him life preservers with Woods, Big E, 55 other people backstage clapping for him in the middle of his match, people he's wrestled against. You know what I mean? There's like 1,000 things they don't. I don't know. It comes across to this view that they don't fully believe in him, that he can do it on his own.
Yeah, and I'd argue they feel that way with a lot of people, but
he's your champion.
I mean, Seth hasn't been given the most interesting stuff in the world either. But with Kofi, yeah, I mean, he's been doing the pancake stuff forever. He's been wearing the new day gear. If Shawn Michaels kept wearing the Rockers gear when he split off as a singles, it would have been ridiculous. So,
gotta change it.
Anyway, so yeah, that was your go home SmackDown show. Money in the Bank this Sunday.
So the show's average at best. We're over it. Well, the pay-per-view looking forward to.
Yeah, pay-per-view should be really good. So let's get to the news real quick. Raw ratings, Raw up a little bit. There was no basketball competition, so even though it was taped in the UK, and actually, over the years, Raw being taped in the UK has had hardly any effect on the ratings. Last year it was up 2%. This year it was up 4% from last week without the basketball competition. So, up is good, but without the basketball, we'll see next week what they get. But up is always good. Although they did have a really big 19% drop from hour 1 to hour 3. Anything to add to that, Justin?
No, like I said, I mean, up is better than down. I thought the second half of Raw wasn't terrible. There was some interesting things. Again, it's just so long. It's impossible to say that 2 hours straight through 10 segments, 11 segments, consistently all good. And it's just too hard for them to string that many together with how much they have to with all the chaos. But you're right. Actually, when they go to London, actually in the last couple of years, I mean, they even had, I think, didn't AJ Styles win the title a few years ago in London? I mean, they seem to actually have some things happen, and it's almost like the spoilers kind of play in their favor. People read and hear about things, and then they go, "Oh, well, now I'm going to tune in to actually see it." So, you can't have a show taped every week, but I think once every so many months when they do these tape shows in London, it actually sometimes can help them a little bit with drumming up some buzz. Yep.
Tonight will be interesting to see. They were up against the Warriors game, so we'll see. Did you guys see that? Real quick, DJZ, formerly of Impact Wrestling, Zema Ion, he has signed with WWE. Is at the Performance Center. Yeah. So congratulations to DJZ.
Good guy, works hard. That's great.
Great guy, well deserved.
Absolutely. Did either of you guys see that Tom McGee Bret Hart match that they released on the WWE Network?
Oh my God, I couldn't believe that. Dude, the guy was shredded and doing all his cool moves and stuff. Oh my God, talk about being ahead of your time.
Yeah.
The only thing I wish they would have done is they did a great job doing all the build. They did a great job giving you background of like what tape trading is and giving these different. The only thing I wish is you had all these people. You have X-Pac, you have Ono, you have all these people talking about like wanting to see it. I wish that after the match we would have, even if it was a quick montage, gotten the reaction from all these wrestlers having got to see it for the first time.
Yeah. Especially Brett and Tom McGee, because they go, "Hey, you guys want to watch it?" They're like, "Oh, sure." I mean, they weren't together, just for anyone that hadn't seen yet.
Did I never hear about this? How? over all these years, like I never stopped being a diehard. I never missed Monday Night Raw, even when it wasn't cool. When I was in high school in like the late 90s there, I never miss Raw. Like, I'm being serious. How in the hell, even as a little boy, I'm saying, back to 84 on, I would argue, every weekend. How the hell did I not know about this?
About
Never heard about this.
This dark match?
Yes.
So Tom McGee never wrestled on TV during his whole time with WWF.
Why?
So
because he sucked.
Yeah, the story was he had the look, but they wanted him to get better in the ring, and that Bret Hart match made him look like a superstar. And then later he was exposed, and he just never got good. And so finally, he was there for 4 years. They under contract for 4 years. Finally got cut in 1990.
They had people that would do that on purpose. They knew you were green. They would take advantage of you and embarrass you, especially if you're not on TV. But they put Warrior on there.
They put
physique. I'm sorry, could absolutely hang with Warriors. He's taller too.
Yeah, but he didn't have the intensity and character the Warrior did.
Don't know, because again, the only way you guys are going to get these any wrestler anywhere is to give them the opportunity, throw them in the damn deep end.
Yeah, it seems weird at a time when you're putting the Red Rooster and the Brooklyn Brawler on TV that you're not at least trying, And
right? Was that his name?
Who's that?
Mega Man, that was his name. What did they call him?
Max Moon?
No,
it was like his nickname.
Tom McGee.
Yeah, Mega Man, Tom McGee.
Yeah.
Japan, thanks for watching the program, Raj. Yes, they're calling him Mega Man. Like, there's something there with a guy that physique, with that look and that athleticism. I don't care if he was a terrible wrestler. Back then, there was many terrible wrestlers.
Hercules and Billy Jack.
Dude, the worst, you guys. Before we go, I got to tell you this. I just gotten called up, right? And at the time, WWE and like Tom Pritchard were like, "Hey, we're going to give tapes to you guys that if you was somebody particular you want to study, we're going to give you tape on." I was like, "This is the freaking gold mine. This is great." I have WWE library. They got our disposal, and like none of the other talents were taking advantage of it. I was like, "F that, I am. I want to get all my big men that I was a fan of as a little kid. I'm going to take little pieces of their game." Put in my favorite was Andre the Giant and Big John Studd as far as the big man feud goes. I watched that and I was heartbroken at how terrible from the forearms to each other's chest. It was God, it was so bad, so rotten. It would never hold up today. And I remember being like, wow. So like in that era, the wrestling wasn't that great to begin with, especially WWF. NWA, different story.
The only thing I
could have gotten away with it too.
The only thing I can think is that because Vince truly was seeing, okay, that this could be his next guy, is that he was more hesitant than ever. He was more conscious than ever about first impressions on TV. And I know from reading recently about this, they put him on the road. He did a whole lot of live event touring. He was on the C towns, and he was working like Frenchie Martin and C-level guys. So all I can guess is that everybody that was reporting back to the agents reporting to Vince, they all must have just kept coming back saying this guy is just not. And Vince was just scared to ruin his first impression on TV.
But if you're going to get rid of him anyway, why not put him in a tag team or something where someone else could do the brunt of the work? You do a few spots here and there.
That guy's. I was not expecting this. I thought this was all a rib because I never heard of Tim McGee. So the whole build-up.
It's like, Tom.
You still have it.
But you know what I mean, you guys? Like, I thought there was a whole thing where there's X-Pac and all of them because he was kind of snickering. I'm like, this is all a big rib. There's not going to be a real wrestler that's wrestling Bret Hart at the end of this. This is going to be something else. Where fun of somebody and some local jobber that didn't deserve being made fun of. I was like, this is pretty mean. You know what I mean? At the beginning. And then I'm like, this dude's main event. Look at him. Look.
Another one of my favorite things of this match was hearing Gorilla and Bobby, like a match I've never heard them call before, and hearing, a fresh Gorilla and Bobby commentary for the first time forever.
Good, right?
They were amazing. I mean, just the chemistry they have, how funny naturally they are together. That stuff's missing. That entertainment and commentary is really missing today.
They were good call. Yeah.
And so, last but not least, Lars Sullivan fight $100,000. Yeah, to your point, that's a lot of money. It is good for him. In the past, you had Zara Schreiber, who got fired when similar. She had some controversial tweet she had posted years earlier came out.
What was her name?
Zara Schreiber. She was dating Seth Rollins at the time. She was in NXT.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and so she got fired. Aaliyah in NXT.
Didn't Jessica Havoc also have some stuff that?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then, oh gosh, I don't want to say the wrong name. Someone, NXT UK talent, just the other week said something homophobic as a joke during a live stream. And she issued an apology, and that seems to have been swept under the rug. I haven't heard anything about that since. But anyway, Lars, so he's got the fine. He's still on the roster, so it seems like that's probably the end of it.
Here's a serious question. So with all the people you just mentioned, they all had a tweet under their verified name, verified persona accounts. Lars Sullivan, under his real name, which most people don't even know, 10 years ago on a random bodybuilding forum under under a screen name. Who the hell dug this up and found this? Who had the time in their life to find all this?
Or WWE. He was not working for them at the time. He does not represent their views. Do you know what I'm saying? Where was that comment at least? Do you know what I mean? Because, I mean, I'm sorry, guys. None of you guys are perfect either. And I guarantee you at age 8 or age 17, you said a curse word or you did something. You know what I mean? And just to be put, I don't know. This
doesn't excuse what he said, but it sets a dangerous precedent because it's 2019. So, the majority of the WWE roster who's 35 or younger has had the internet and social media in their lives for their adult life and maybe even when they're a minor. And as the years go on, this is only going to get worse. The social media is not going away. So this sets a dangerous precedent. I mean, at what point do we go back and see what somebody said on their MySpace page on 2006 and find them for it?
But more importantly, really quick, I'll shut up. Really quickly, you guys. My point is, he was not owned by WWE.
Yeah, but obviously, if there's really hurtful stuff, regardless.
Any hate speech, any of that stuff, you got to own that, dude. You have to own it. He, as a man, should have stepped up and owned it. Maybe he did, I don't know, publicly, and get out on his own. You know what I mean? And do it that way. WWE, you did not own him. He was not part of your company then.
Yeah, it probably would have been better if Lars, out of his own thing, said he was donating the 100,000, even if behind the scenes it was WWE pressuring him to do it. But Lars saying he's giving $100,000 to these charities and he's going to meet with community organizers, and he did apologize. He was 20. I know some people are saying 20 is still an adult. We call him an adult. They say the human mind's not developed fully until 25. People do stupid shit when they're younger, and especially when you're online and you think you're anonymous and you feel like you could be a troll. And if you're drunk and when you're 20 years old and you're spouting off with other people on a forum, it's easy to be led to do something stupid. But racist, misogynistic, comments are not acceptable. But at the same time, it shouldn't be a life sentence either. If you truly are sorry, you didn't mean that. That's not in your heart.
Yeah, see what they do with it, whether the girl or guy does it. Let's see what they do with it themselves, because that's what's most important. I don't like the fake apologies. I like the ones that nobody has to tell them to do it. They know, oh, crap, I didn't, that was not what I meant, or whatever have you. And then they say it immediately. They don't wait. They jump on it right away because they know how terrible that was, or you know what I mean? And
yeah. And the other thing is, it was 10 years, it's crazy. It was like 10 years ago. He probably forgot that he even wrote half the stuff.
I'm sure.
Yeah, like you said, you're. I
don't remember articles I wrote 10 years ago, right? Yeah. And a lot of them, I spent a lot of time. So
what's crazy about this is that this story kind of surfaced late. Raj, if you remember this story kind of got out on the internet late in 2018 when all the hype started coming that Lars was going to come to the main roster.
Yeah,
and then it died down. And the only reason that it resurfaced was because somebody asked Big E on Twitter about it, right. and Big E acknowledged it and said that people in the company know about it, and that if Lars actually said this, he's got to lay in the bed that he's made. So this would have gone away, and they almost got away with it. But
yeah,
Big E brought it back up, and then I guess sponsors started saying things. So I guess the best thing PR wise WWE could do is since they've said they fined him $100,000, is WWE should now go out and donate $100,000 to some civil.
Whatever he said. And whoever he offended. charity towards that whatever group that is.
Right.
I have no idea what he said, by the way.
Right. And around the time the story came out, and like I said, at that time we didn't report it because it could never be proven that it was him. And until Big E replied, it was something that we weren't, and there was no proof. And so, but around that time when it first started coming out was when Lars had that, the supposed anxiety attack. So he could feel really terrible about it, and it came out, and he just felt terrible. Who knows? But anyway, I feel like it's a stiff fine, but I think it's good that he got some punishment, and he's paying for it. And I think it's good that he's not getting fired, because if he truly is sorry, I'd hate to see someone lose their job over something that happened that long ago. Last thing, let's wrap it up. Tomorrow, AEW, big announcement expected tomorrow morning. Turner upfronts are tomorrow in New York City. It's expected that they will be announcing their TV deal. So the Winkley tomorrow, Justin and Nick will be on the Winkley, and they'll be talking all about it.
What time?
Oh, man. I believe around
like 10 a.m.
The presentation is 10 a.m., but I think they're going to send a release or something before that. So I think it should be out probably like 9 a.m. Eastern time. So early morning.
Will I be able to see it live or no?
No, the upfronts are usually not televised. I mean, they'll post clips of it, but I'm sure AEW, with the Young Bucks or something, they might film something for Road to Nothing. I mean, road to double.
The road to nothing.
Road to double nothing. So it'll be a big week. So stay tuned. Justin, I told you I'm not a host. I'm not a podcast.
That's as bad as Roman burying Elias. What a spell. Road to nothing.
All right, Justin, what do you got to plug?
Follow me on Twitter at Justin LaBar, and just if you Money in the Bank, we're making all of our predictions. I got to give a shout out to my friends at WrestleRumble.com. Go to WrestleRumble.com. You can predict and answer questions. Who's going to win? Who's going to be the first one to touch the briefcase? All those questions are worth a certain amount of points. Top point getters get prize money. I think the first place prize is $500 and a WWE UK Championship title. I think even fifth place you get like $50. So it's a lot of fun. It makes watching this that much more interesting. If you like playing fantasy sports, it's a whole lot of fun.
That does sound interesting. Actually, I'm going to try that. That does sound interesting. Nothing to plug. I'm good.
All right. Well, check back with the Winkley tomorrow with Justin and Nick, and me, Matt, and Glenn will be back this Sunday after Money in the Bank.
Go to bed, Raj.
Review that show. I know, man. It's been a long week. So thanks everyone for tuning in, and we'll catch you this Sunday.